ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम। Today we continuing chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 12, the four categories of annihilation from shloka number 15 to 30. अपाम रसम अथः तेजः ताहाल्यन्ते निरसाः ग्रसते तेजसः रूपं वायु तत् रहितं तदा लीयते च अनिले तेज वायोकं ग्रसते गुणं स वै विशति कं राजन् ततः च नभसः गुणम्। शब्दं ग्रसति भूत आदि अनभतम अनुलीयते तेजस च इंद्रियाणि अंग देवान् वैकारिक गुणैः महान् ग्रसति अहंकारं गुणा सत्त्वात् अयच सत्त्व आदय च तम ग्रसते अव्याकृतं राजन् गुणान् कालेन चोदितं न तस्य काल अवयवहि परिणाम आदय गुणाः अनाद्य अनन्तम् अनादि अनंतम अव्यक्तम नित्यम कारणम अव्ययम न यत्र वाच न मनः न सत्वं तमः रजो वा महत् आदय अमि न प्राण बुद्धि इंद्रिय देवता वा न सन्निवेशः खलु लोककल्पः न स्वप्न जागरण न च तत् सुषुप्तुं न कलं जलम भूः अनिल अग्नि अर्क संसुप्तवत् शून्यवत् अप्रतर्क्यं तत्मूलभूतं पदम् आमनन्ति। लय प्राकृतिकः एषः पुरुष अव्यक्तयो यदा शक्तयः संप्रलीयन्ते विवशा कालविद्रुतः बुद्धि इन्द्रिय अर्थरूपेण ज्ञानं भाति तत् आश्रयं दृश्यत्वा अव्यतिरेकाभ्याम् आद्यन्तवत् अवस्तु यत् दीपः चक्षु च रूपं च ज्योतिषः न पृथक् भवेत् एवं दीघानि मात्रा च न स्युः अन्यतम आदृतात् बुद्धेः जागरणं स्वप्नः सुषुप्तिः इति च उच्यते माया मात्रम् इदं राजन्नानात्वं प्रत्यग आत्मनि यथा जलधरा व्योम्नि भवन्ति न भवन्ति च ब्रह्मणि इदं तथा विश्वम् अव्यय अवयव अवयवी उदय अप्यात् सत्यम ही अवयव प्रोक्त सर्व अवयवीनाम इह विना अर्थेन प्रतिहेरन् अटस्य एव अंगतन्तवः यत् सामान्य विशेषाभ्याम उपलभ्येत स ब्रह्म अन्योन्य अपाश्रयात् सर्वं माद्यन्तवत् अवस्तु यत् विकार ख्यायमाण अपि प्रत्यग आत्मानं अंतरा न निरूप्य अस्ति अणु अपि सैत चित सम आत्मवत्। Translation and purport with 1 minute, one shloka is remaining.
So
न हि
continue
सत्यस्य
till 29
नानात्वं
only.
Translation and purport with the Srila Prabhupada Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The element fire then seizes the taste from the element water, which deprived of its unique quality taste merges into fire. Air seizes the form inherent in fire, and then fire deprived of form merges into air. The element ether seizes the quality of air, namely touch, and that air enters into ether. Then, O king, false ego in ignorance is a sound, the quality of ether, after which ether merges into the false ego. False ego in the mode of passion takes hold of the senses, and false ego in the mode of goodness absorb the demigod. Then the total Mahatattva seizes false ego along with its various functions, and that Mahat is seized by the three basic modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. My dear King Parikshit, these modes are further overtaken by the original unmanifest form of nature impelled by time. That unmanifest nature is not subject to the six kinds of transformation caused by the influence of time. Rather, it has no beginning and no end. It is the unmanifest, eternal, and infallible cause of creation. In the unmanifest stage of material nature called pradhan, there is no expression of words, no mind, and no manifestation of the subtle elements beginning from the Mahat, nor are there the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. There is no life, air, or intelligence, nor any senses or demigod. There is no definite arrangement of planetary systems, nor are there present the different stages of consciousness: sleep, wakefulness, and deep sleep. There is no ether, water, earth, air, fire, or sun. The situation is just like that of complete sleep or of wideness. Indeed, it is indescribable. Authorities in spiritual science explain, however, that since Pradhan is the original substance, it is the actual basis of material creation. This is the annihilation called Prakritik, during which the energies belonging to the Supreme Person and is in his unmanifest material nature, disassembled by the force of time, are deprived of their potencies and merged together totally. It is the absolute truth alone who manifests in the form of intelligence, the senses and the objects of sense perception, and who is their ultimate basis. Whatever has a beginning and an end is insubstantial because of being an object pursued by limited senses and because of being non-different from its own cause. A lamp, the eye that views by the light of that lamp, and the visible form that is viewed are basically non-different from the element of fire. In the same way, intelligent, the senses and sense perception have no existence. Separate from the supreme reality, through that absolute truth remains totally distinct from them. The three sets of intelligence are called waking consciousness, sleep, and deep sleep. But, my dear king, the variegated experiences created for the pure living entity by these different states are nothing more than illusion. Just as clouds in the sky come into being and are then dispersed by the amalgamation and dissolution of their constituent elements. This material universe is created and destroyed within the absolute truth by the amalgamation and dissolution of its elemental constituent parts. My dear king, it is stated in the Vedanta Sutra that the ingredients cause that constitutes any manifested product in this universe can be pursued as a separate reality, just as the threads that make up a cloth can be pursued separately from their product. Anything experienced in terms of general cause and specific effect must be an illusion, because such causes and effects exist only relative to each other. Indeed, whatever has a beginning and an end is unreal. Although pursued, the transformation of even a single atom of material nature has no ultimate definition without reference to the supreme soul to be accepted as factually existing. Something must possess the same quality as pure spirit, eternal, unchanging existence. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada is the word drushatva indicates that all subtle and gross material manifestations are made visible by the potency of the Supreme Lord and again become invisible or unmanifest at the time of annihilation. They are therefore in essence not separate from the source of their expansion and withdrawal. Pure Krishna consciousness exists beyond the various stages of material awareness. Just as darkness vanishes in the presence of light, so illusory material intelligence, which is experienced as normal perception, dreaming, and deep sleep, completely vanishes in the brilliant presence of pure Krishna consciousness, the constitutional condition of every living entity. The nature of material cause cannot be perceived without perception of the effect. For example, the burning nature of fire cannot be perceived without observing the effect of fire, such as a burning object or ashes. Similarly, the saturating quality of water cannot be understood without observing the effect of saturated cloth or paper. The organizational power of a man cannot be understood without observing the effect of his dynamic work, namely a solid institution. In this way, not only do effects depend upon their causes, but the perception of the cause also depends upon observation of the effect. Thus, both are defined relatively and have a beginning and end. The conclusion is that all such material causes and effects are essentially temporary and relative and consequently illusory. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, although the cause of all causes, has no beginning or end. Therefore, he is neither material nor illusory. Lord Krishna's opulences and potencies are absolute reality beyond the interdependence of material cause and a mirage of water appearing in the desert is actually a manifestation of light. The false appearance of water is a specific transformation of light, that which falsely appears as independent material nature is similarly a transformation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Material nature is the external potency of Lord. Thus end the purport. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुर्मीलितम् येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सहाद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांच नमो ओम विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम. Today we continuing Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 12, Chapter 4, the four categories of annihilation. Yesterday we know which are the four categories of annihilation. Naimittic, uh, uh, all we heard yesterday. Today we try to understand about the elements which elements observe to another, like that we try to understand. And the stage of material nature, unmanifested stage of material nature, that is called pradhan. And ahead what is that also described. And then the say second annihilation, that is prakrutik, and nemitic, like that annihilations are told in these shlokas. Prabhuji will tell you in detail. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhech कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. हरे कृष्णा.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. As we see about the different modes of annihilation, and it's such a important what I'll say chapter that we are going through. Now the question still arises: why is it that we are actually going through these different modes of annihilation, and what has this universal annihilation got to do with our understanding? So let us take it one by one. First, let us understand these four annihilations. The COMF, that is constant, occasional, material, and final. So the changes which are occurring every moment, it is a constant annihilation. Occasional or naimittic is the one which happens at the end of the day of the Brahma, wherein when Brahma sleeps, the three planetary systems meet destruction. So that is naimittika. The third one is when Brahma completes his life of 100 years, wherein there is total material annihilation. So that is called as the Prakritic. At that time, the seven elements of material nature, including the Mahat and the universal egg, they are destroyed. The fourth is about Atyantika, or final annihilation or the liberation, wherein a soul achieves absolute knowledge, he understands factual reality, he perceives the entire creation separate from Lord Krishna, and so this material creation is unreal, becomes his decision. So that is the liberation or Atyantika annihilation. So you're trying to understand these four in this particular chapter. So we saw how the seven elements are there and how each of the elements has a specific quality. And having understood that, now we see how the moment that quality leaves, the whole world loses that particular aspect. So yesterday we stopped at the position wherein the entire universe was flooded. So the earth, which has the quality of fragrance, that is lost. And since the element earth loses its quality, it gets dissolved because of this water. Now, water has the quality of taste. So, what fire does is it seizes the taste from the water. And since from water, yeah. And since that is no more there, it merges into fire. But now, fire has a quality of form. You are able to see fire. So, what air does it? It seizes that form. And because that form is lost, the fire is merged into air. Now, air has touch. So, what ether does is it seizes this quality of touch. And so, now even fire merges into ether. Now, if you see, if you, the air merges into ether. Now, false ego takes away sound. Ether has sound as a quality. So the moment sound is removed, ether is merging into false ego. Now, false ego is something which is affected by the three gunas and it holds the senses. So, if the false ego is absorbing in the mode of goodness, then it absorbs the demigods. And so, the whole Mahat Tattva is seizes false ego along with its various functions. And that Tattva is something which is taken over or seized by the Trigunas. And these Trigunas are then taken over by the original and manifest form of nature under the influence of time. And that nature, since it is unmanifest, it is not affected by the six kinds of transformation. So it has no beginning, no end. It is eternal and it is the infallible cause of creation. So this is how the annihilation actually happens everywhere. So we see that this is something which is already described in our scriptures. This unmanifest stage is something which is called as pradhana because no words, no mind, no manifestation, nor are there the trigunas in that. There is no life here, no intelligence, no senses. There is, in fact, no scientific proper arrangement of the planets and no different stages of consciousness. Now, these stages of consciousness is something which we have to be very, very careful about. So, there are three stages: sleep, wakefulness, and deep sleep. So, we will discuss this today in detail. But this pradhana, it does not even have this panchamahabhut. So, it is like complete sleep. There's void, complete voidness. And so, it is very difficult to describe it. Our gurus, our spiritual leaders in the past have tried to explain. But since it is the original substance and it is the actual basis of material creation, that is what we have to understand. Now, when the energy is belonging to the Krishna and his material nature, they are deprived of their potencies and they both merge together totally. That is prakritika, annihilation. It's only Krishna who can manifest in the form of intelligence, the senses, the objects of the sense perception. And so Krishna is the ultimate basis. And that is why we call him the, what I'll say, the owner of the senses. Rishikesha, Rishikena Sevaya is what we always say. That we should be serving the king of the senses with all our senses. Now, wherever we find that there is an end, there is a beginning, that is because of our, what I'll say, objectiveness, perception created by our limited senses. Now, a lamp, which we can see the light of the lamp, and because of that, we know that this is a lamp. But practically, if you see the light of that lamp is not different from fire. So, similarly, intelligence, the senses, sense perceptions, they are not different from Krishna. So Krishna is distinct from them. So these three stages of intelligence, that is consciousness, sleep, and deep sleep, are something we have to understand because we get variegated experiences during these three stages. But something which is very common in all these three is that anything that we experience there is nothing more than an illusion. Now, There are so many things which come together to form a cloud in the sky. So, because of favorable conditions, the clouds get formed. But then they are also dispersed by the amalgamation and dissolution of the constituent elements. So, similarly, the material universe is created and destroyed within Krishna by the amalgamation and dissolution of the various elements and constituent parts. Vedanta Sutra says that the ingredient cause that constitutes the manifested products can be perceived as a separate reality, just as the threads that make up a cloth can be perceived separately from their product. So, if you are trying to experience anything in terms of general cause and specific effect, it definitely is an illusion. Because such causes, effects, they are only relative to each other. Whatever has a beginning and an end is unreal. It's only Krishna who does not have a beginning, who does not have an end, is real. So, though at times we know, and scientifically studies have been done, that there can be a transformation of an atom. But even though it is perceived, it has no ultimate definition without reference to Krishna, the Supreme Soul, the Paramatma. If the atom also has to be accepted as factually existing, it must possess the same qualities as spirit soul, eternal, unchanging existence. So, understanding this is very important. Many times in deserts, we see the mirage that we find that there is water and we try to go there. But then that is mirage, a false appearance. It is just a specific transformation of light. So that which falsely appears as independent material nature is similarly a transformation of Krishna. Material nature finally is the external potency of Krishna. So it is very important that we do not confuse the material changes without understanding the source behind it. The burning nature of fire cannot be perceived without understanding the heat, the ashes, which are the effects of that fire. So similarly, Krishna, he is the cause of all causes. He has no beginning, no end. So he is not material, not illusory. His opulences and potencies are absolute reality, beyond the interdependence of material cause and effect. So whether we be in the state of wakefulness, sleep or deep sleep, the situation remains the same, that we are eternal spirit souls and servants of Lord Krishna.